Hi, I'm Jiri, and this is 8 type of waste. This is a method that comes from the Japanese company Toyota, and it will make your life easier. It will help you be more effective and efficient in your work, in the work of your team, in your processes. This is a method, as I said, that comes from the Toyota production system. Then when other companies started to use this system, they started to call it lean. Okay, and let's take a step back, and I will tell you about the basics of the production Toyota systems. It's a really interesting management philosophy because it helped Toyota to move from like a shitty car manufacturer to the top world quality. And a lot of people, replicate this concept of continuous improvement. It works like that, So in Toyota, they said, okay, we are here. This is what we can do. This is what we do right now. And this is what we would like to be, like defect-free, perfect, affordable cars, that have no issues. And instead of creating like a giant project of 5 years long and etc., they were asking themselves, okay, what can we do this month? What can be our next target? Maybe here. So they did that. And what's the next thing that will help us? Be better, create more value for the customer. Maybe this thing. And then this thing. And 10,000, maybe 100,000. These small improvements later, they were like a world-class quality. They're still not at this infinite awesome state, but they are very close. These small, tiny changes, projects, improvements, they are called Kaizen in Japanese. Maybe I'll shoot another video speaking more about that. And this is the philosophy that helps them, like small baby steps. And one of the methods how to understand what is the value for the customer that we would like to increase and what is not the value of the customer, something that we would like to systematically reduce, is 8 types of waste. It's not like a scientific categorization of waste. It's like a mental model, a tool that helps people see the waste and then reduce them in order to improve the value for the customer. Let me walk you through examples and stories about the 8 types of waste. Okay, so let's start with the first one, and that is transport. In Toyota and any manufacturing, there is a lot of transporting stuff around, like material, work in progress, finished goods. You have different warehouses. Does customer care? Probably not. He doesn't care how much transport you do. In your company, maybe even if you don't have manufacturing or physical side, your customer doesn't care how many emails you send, how many meetings you have, how many approvals and information passing goes on in your company. So transport, you cannot eliminate transport fully, but you can reduce it as much as possible, and this is a task of lean. So transport is the first waste. The second waste is inventory. Once again, in the manufacturing and physical inventory, that is a problem because you have to finance inventory, you have to take care of it, you have to store it, you have to make sure it will not deteriorate or get broken or stolen. Even if your company does not have a physical inventory, you still have an inventory of ongoing projects, open tickets, priorities. And what I see in companies is that it's far too many, which leads to context switching, a lot of lost energy, doing too many things at once, maybe communication, too much communication, synchronization, and communication errors. So doing too many things or having too many things is a waste. And we need to find a way how to reduce it at least a little bit each time. The next one is motion. And now it starts getting interesting. Of course, originally in motion, Toyota focused on, making, reducing unnecessary motion from building the cars, So how to optimize the layout of the workspace and everything. For us, people that work with computers, much of the motion has been already eliminated and there is not so much place of improvement. but we do a lot of motion in our digital environment. A lot of processes and enterprise software use far too many clicks and rewriting stuff from one place to another place, which is completely useless and does not bring any value to the customer. Also, a big part of motion is searching. This is my favorite waste. I call it the hidden killer of productivity. The company Evernote, that make this system for managing information for individuals and teams, they cited a study that a typical white-collar worker, an office worker, spends between 1.5 to 2.5 hours a day searching for something. Searching in your mailbox, searching in your desktop, searching for a document, searching for the right person to talk to, searching for the meeting credentials, etc. So it's not like a one big chunk of time, but it's like a super small times. So next time, tomorrow at work, try to focus. Try to be mindful about the searching and ask yourself a question: can we eliminate that? Can we reduce that? Is there a way how to have less searching? So that was motion. The next one is unused potential, and that is fun. That was added later. It used to be 7 types of waste. Now it's 8 types of waste, because unused potential is really, really important, and it's 2 things. Either when people do things that junior people can do easier, they just do too simple work, even though they are well educated and skilled. Or it can be that it's unused innovation potential, when you don't leverage what they know that can be improved. Let me tell you a story, a favorite story of mine about a company. And this company, they had a machine that was a packaging machine. So they made some widgets, let's say, they just come here like the widgets, and out of the machine there was like a conveyor belt, and there was like the packaged machines, so it was like automatic packaging machine, and there was always like one guy operating the machine, looking forward, looking after it, make sure the right setting is on, etc. So that's the reality, and the cost of the machine was about maybe 1 million euro. Okay, and the machine can do let's say 500 packages per shift. Okay, it was running 24/7, and still that was not enough. So the company was planning, we need to do actually 1,000 packages in order to fulfill our demand. So maybe we need to buy another machine that would work next to it, and invest 1 million euro to buy a new machine. But then the manager of this project would randomly talk to one of the operators from some other department, and the guy told him like, hey, I'm not sure like why you're planning an investment to a new machine when the old one can easily do 1,500 per shift. And that guy was like, hey, how is that possible? And this guy, let's call him John, said like, hey, no, I have been working here for 20 years. I started as an operator on this machine, and we used to do 1,500 easily, but then, the new guys, they forgot how to do the proper settings so the machine can run in full speed mode. And now they only can do 500. And so the manager asked him like, so can you just like go there for one shift, and show them how to set it up right? And he said, yeah. And he did. And he did 1,500. And 1 million euro was saved. And then they asked him like, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us about this improvement? And this John guy said like, I've been working here for 20 years. At the beginning of my career, I did give improvements, but nobody was interested. Nobody cared. Nobody praised me. People laughed at me. So why should I bother in a company like this to give these tasks? So I stopped. This story is probably not the only situation when that happens, and a lot of improvement potential is hidden in the brains of people in the companies, and it stays unused in many companies. So that is unused potential. Let's move to another types of waste, which is waiting. Okay, let's not wait and continue. Regarding waiting, that's quite clear that this is a waste. I like to say this example that on average 10 minutes of waiting every day leads to a full working week over a year. So if you waste 10 minutes a day waiting for your slow computer to start up, you will waste 1 week every year. And that is crazy. And I've seen a lot of companies where they hire smart people, give them a lot of money, and then they give them shitty computers just to save some costs. That makes completely no sense. So waiting, even in a small steps, can be like a big productivity killer. So make sure your people have fast computers and fast internet, and and fast IT systems, and just like eliminate waiting where it's possible. Okay. Next one is over processing. It's just too many meetings, too many people in the email copy, too many approvals. Creating a let's say complex process is an easy job. Creating a simple process can be sometimes very, very difficult. So I encourage you put the brain into making your process simpler. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. Let's move to the next waste, the 7th waste, which is called overproduction. Again, in the age of manufacturing, doing more than the customer wants creates waste, because it might be sold one day, but more likely it will just deteriorate somewhere, or it will just create some additional costs. In our office world, doing more reports, for example, doing more meetings than it's necessary is a common productivity killer. I heard about one guy that was working in a company, and his job, his job was doing manual reports. He was in controlling, and he did about 20 manual reports every week. And one of the biggest reports took him 4 hours to complete. And once this guy, let's call him Jack, he talked to his colleague and said like, hey, you know about this huge report that I do every week? And he said, yeah. So, 1 week I actually accidentally sent an empty Excel file as an attachment. The guy says like, okay, so what happened? The guy said like, nothing happened, completely no response. So what did you do? I tried the next week. I tried the same. I sent an empty Excel file. What happens? Nothing. So what was the next step? And the guy said, Jack says like, I have been doing that for 2 years. That's not an advice what you should take. It's just like an interesting story about how overproduction and doing reports is an easy source of reducing waste. A lot of people are doing manual work generally. Manual processes, manual work, manual payments, manual reports is a big source of improvement, and people do more of that in companies than you would think. So the next one, the last one, it's called defects. So far, all the wastes I mentioned was efficiency loss. You lose time, you lose material, you lose focus, etc. But the customer was not touched directly, only indirectly, because your cost is higher. Therefore, your price might be too high for the customer. So might lose some customers, because you are not efficient. Okay, maybe your competition is, you are not. Okay, but now in defects, of course, some of the defects, that means let's say faulty products, wrong products. Sometimes you can fix it before it reaches the customer, and it's still just an efficiency loss. But sometimes it can reach the customer, and then they have to claim it, they have to return it, you piss off customers, and that's crazy. And not only you piss off the customer and you make this effect, but while doing this product, you did all the other 7 types of waste. So it's like a double waste. So it's like a very dangerous one. And it's not just like a malfunctioning or products, or it's also late deliveries and also unkept promises. So if your customer service tells your customer, thank you for calling, we'll sort it out, we get back to you tomorrow, and then they won't, that's a defect, okay? So that's the most serious waste that you can see in companies. So these are 8 types of waste. How you can remember those easily with this thing which is called Tim U Wood. It's not a person, there is no Tim, you know, but it's an abbreviation of the first letters, which says transport, inventory, motion, unused potential, waiting, overprocessing, overreduction, defects. So this is how you can remember. And how you can actually use those, you can use it with your team. The first thing that companies that are lean do is they train their employees about this waste. They teach them how to see the waste around them, you know. So because if you can't see it, you can't improve it. So the better your people can see the waste, then the better you have a chance to improving it. So what you can do, except of showing them this video, is make a waste workshop where you would just go through these 8 types of waste and brainstorm where this waste shows up in your work, in your process, in your department. Okay, then make a list of the wastes and then just prioritize those and bring some ideas how to reduce these wastes, at least one step at a time, as a continuous improvement. So maybe on the beginning the people will tell you there is no waste. Everybody's working hard, you know. But when they start to see, they will see, aha, okay, so what can we do about it? And later on, they will see and understand that reducing waste will make their life easier, will make the work better, and everybody likes working in an environment that is no waste or little waste much more than in a chaotic, messy environment that pisses off customer. So that's why understanding 8 types of waste and learning how to see them is very, very important. If you have a physical environment like production or a shop floor, then just go and watch for the waste in a physical environment. That's in Japanese, that's called Genchi Genbutsu. If you have just a digital world, you can still see a lot of this waste and work with your team to reduce it so that your customer will love it. You will have an efficient operations with happy people doing meaningful work. So thank you for watching, and good luck with eliminating and reducing 8 types of waste, and see you soon in some of the next videos of mine.